Excited to show you today a fun little kind of a trivet and some little coasters that you can make. I know a lot of you are at home with young children and you might be making masks and they're seeing you sew and maybe want to try something, or you've been working with some new sewers who have again helping you make masks or other things that decided they like sewing. So this is a fun project to do with somebody that's kind of a new sewer. It's very forgiving. Your seam allowance doesn't have to be like perfect. So the way it works, and we're gonna be putting the little pattern on our daily dose, so this will be a little free download for today. And this set is working with one of our 6-pack bundles. So this is working with 6 fat quarters, and you will get 1 12-inch trivet size and 5 of the coaster size from a 6-pack. So the way it works, so from each one of your fat quarters, you're going to cut 1 12-inch square and 5 6-inch squares. So from each one of these, you will get, you'll get a 12-inch square and then 5 6-inch squares. And for each one of your coasters, you'll use one piece from each fabric. So once you have them all cut, and then for each piece, you're also going to need a square of batting. So you'll need 1 12-inch batting and 5 6-inch batting. And then you're going to take, and on your batting, you're going to sandwich the batting between 2 of your squares. And everything is going to be with the right side of the fabric out. We're not doing any right sides together. So this is all with the fabric facing the correct side out. So 2 of your squares will be put on either side of your batting. And you're going to take the remaining 4 squares, and with this one I just picked 2 fabrics out of our stash just for the demonstration today. So I'm going to take those remaining squares and I'm just going to iron them in half so they become a rectangle. And then to assemble it, I'm always going to work with my finished folded edge towards the middle. So I'm going to lay my first one down. And it's kind of like the way you fold a cardboard box, where you just keep going around and putting the next one on top. And when I get to the last one, I need to lift this side up and put this underneath. So it's kind of like when you do the cardboard box, you lift up that last corner and stick the first side underneath it. So you end up with each one overlapping the one next to it. And then you're just going to sew all the way around it. You don't have to leave a hole for turning, because that hole is going to be right in the middle. So you sew that 1/4 inch seam all the way around it. And when you do that, I'm just going to grab one here from my little coffee fat quarters. So it's going to end up like this, and I don't know if you can see my seam. So I sewed that 1/4 inch all the way around it. And then I'm going to cut my little corners so when I flip it, I don't have bulk in those corners. And then you can just open this middle up and flip it right side out. So when you get in there and straighten out your corners, you end up with your finished little coaster. Okay. One thing you do have to remember is whatever fabric you want on the back is the one that you have to start laying your pieces on top of, because whatever's on the inside ends up getting flipped to the back. Okay, so one of your fabrics from your 4 fat quarters will be on the inside. You can make them all the same with this one. I put all my fabrics in the same order every time. And so they all had the little red check, and they all had the same fabrics, and then they all had this one on the inside. But you can mix it up. You can have everyone have a different back and everyone have a different inside. You can do whatever you want with them. The other thing that you can work with, and on my pattern I'm working with 6-inch squares and 12-inch squares just because that was best for working with a fat quarter bundle. But it doesn't matter what size these squares are, as long as you have 6 squares that are all the same size. So if I have a charm pack, a 5-inch square pack laying around the house, you can make them with these. You can sort them into coordinating colors or just pick them off the top. I can say this one's going to be on either side of my batting. And I'm going to pick the top first 4, fold them in half, and just go around. So you can make it as scrappy as you want. If you work with a layer cake, you're going to get 10-inch, obviously, so there'll be about 9 inches when you're done sewing them. Again, that 12-inch square is really nice for the trivet size to put on your table. If you want a little bit of extra heat resistance, you can also use a layer of the Insulbrite along with your layer of cotton batting on the inside, just to give you a little bit more heat if you're going to be putting a hot dish on top of it. And then the other thing is you can do the exact same method. Let me grab these. Okay, so I'm going to start with my same 2 pieces on top of my batting, but instead of ironing them in half like this, I'm going to iron them in half into triangles, so ironing corner to corner rather than to my straight. And again, when I layer them, I'm going to put my raw edges to my corners so that my folded edges to the middle. And I'm just going to keep going around like that. And remember that this one I have to lift up my first and put it down. Oops. So then when I sew around it and I flip it, I'm going to get a little more of a what's the name of the block? Quarter square triangle block. Or a hourglass. If you, depending upon your color, the hourglass block. Okay, so again, when I flip this out, I gotta get them flipped the right way here. So it's just the difference between the squares or the triangles when you flip it. So just for different little look. Anything else, Elaine?
The only thing I was going to say is if you take one of the coasters and you stuff it with batting, and you sew a button in the middle, it makes a great little pin cushion.
Yep. Or the other thing, if you cut 18-inch squares from your fat quarters, you'll get about a 17-inch pillow. And you can stick the pillow form in there and just kind of tie a little button on the front to close your hole. So you can, again, do any size square as long as you have 6 squares the same size.